Hello, my name is Grant Lubin, and I've been a Packer fan since I was about 11 years old. While I am a Packer fan, I'm especially fond of the men who played for Vince Lombardi, and one of these men was Bob Long. I would like to share some of my memories of Bob, who has also been referred to as the original number 80 on the Packers team. Vince Lombardi used to tell his players that the most important things for them were their faith, their families, and the Green Bay Packers. Bob lived as an excellent example of these ideals. I believe the Lord wanted me to meet and eventually become friends with Bob Long. The reason I say this is the first time I met Bob, I was chaperoning a group of young people from my church at Concordia University, and it was sponsored by the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. It was a basketball game between the then current Packers and some local Milwaukee area sports personalities. Bob was the coach of the Packer team. At halftime, most of the fans in the stands, especially the young people, flocked to the current Packer players, hoping to get autographs. I instead went up to Bob and talked to him and asked for his autograph. And his comment to me that day was, "Thanks for remembering." Many years later, through a close friend and coworker of mine, Ray Jarvis, who was a receiver for the Detroit Lions back in the 70s, a great receiver, I might add. Ray introduced me to Bob because he and Bob were friends. They both lived in Brookfield. They both used to play for the Atlanta Falcons, although at different times. And they participated in NFL alumni charity events. So they were good friends. That's how I met Bob Long the second time. After that, there were a number of occasions where I was invited to go to Bob's house, beautiful home in Brookfield. I'd sit in his den, or sometimes we'd sit on the deck outside, and I listened to his stories about the Packers. I listened to them, and he really loved to tell them as much as I loved to hear him. He loved telling them even more, I think. My favorite memory of Bob is from back in the spring of 2021 when Bob and some other Packer veterans were invited to Green Bay by the Packers and the Rawhide Boys Ranch for a gala fundraising event for Rawhide. Rawhide is the organization that Bart and Sherry Starr helped get started back in the 1960s. It was my great honor to be asked to accompany Bob to the event. I drove Bob to Green Bay. I got to meet and spend time with some of these participants and teammates of Bob's. I met Dave Robinson, Jerry Kramer, James Lofton, who was not on the Lombardi teams. He played later, but he was also number 80. I met Cherry Starr, Bart Starr Jr., and at dinner, I met and sat next to the founder of Rawhide, John Gillespie. During this event, Bob would introduce me as his bodyguard, which we got a kick out of that. Being with Bob for those 2.5 days was a once in a lifetime experience for me, which I will never forget. Hearing his stories and learning about things Lombardi instilled in those who played for him made me understand that not only were they being molded into what would become the greatest NFL football teams ever assembled, but he also taught them lessons about life. Bob was a true gentleman, and I will always cherish the memory of our friendship and the times we were together. He really was the original number 80. In closing, I just want to say, thank you, Lord, that I met Bob twice and he became a friend. God bless Bob's wonderful family, and God bless the Green Bay Packers. Thank you.